Modern humans are the only human species alive today, but for most of history, we were not alone. Several different human species once walked the earth, each with their own tools, skills, and ways of surviving. Some disappeared. One survived. This is the story of the human species that came before us. Australopithecus. Around 4 million years ago, one of the earliest human ancestors appeared in Africa, Australopithecus. These small-bodied hominins walked upright but still spent time in trees. Their brains were much smaller than modern humans, but their ability to walk on two legs was a major step in human evolution. Australopithecus lived in Africa for millions of years and is believed to be one of the ancestors of the genus Homo. Homo habilis. Around 2.4 million years ago, a new species appeared, Homo habilis. The name means handyman because this species is associated with some of the earliest stone tools ever discovered. Compared to Australopithecus, Homo habilis had a slightly larger brain and a greater ability to manipulate objects. These early humans likely used tools to process food and survive in changing environments. Homo erectus. One of the most successful early human species was Homo erectus. Appearing nearly 2 million years ago, Homo erectus was the first human species to leave Africa and spread across parts of Asia and Europe. They had larger brains, more advanced tools, and are believed to be the first humans to control fire. Homo erectus survived for over 1 million years, making it one of the longest-lasting human species. Homo heidelbergensis. Around 700,000 years ago, another important species appeared, Homo heidelbergensis. This species had a brain size closer to modern humans and is believed to be a common ancestor of both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. They likely hunted large animals and used more sophisticated stone tools. Neanderthals. Neanderthals lived in Europe and Western Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. They were strong, intelligent, and well adapted to cold climates. Neanderthals made complex tools, controlled fire, and even buried their dead. Around 40,000 years ago, however, they disappeared, leaving Homo sapiens as the last surviving human species. Homo sapiens appeared around 300,000 years ago in Africa. Unlike earlier species, humans developed complex language, symbolic thinking, and advanced tools. Over time, Homo sapiens spread across the entire planet, adapting to nearly every environment on Earth. Today, we are the only surviving human species, but our story began with many branches of the human family. But evolution was not only about physical change, it was also about behavior, survival, and adaptation to an ever-changing world. Early humans lived in small groups, constantly moving through landscapes that could be both generous and unforgiving. Their survival depended on cooperation, memory, and the ability to adapt. They gathered fruits, roots, seeds, and hunted small animals when possible. Food was never guaranteed, and every day required knowledge of the land. One of the most important turning points in human evolution was the development of tools. The earliest stone tools were simple, sharp edges created by striking one stone against another. Yet these tools transformed survival. With them, early humans could cut meat, break bones to access marrow, and process plants more efficiently. At some point in this long journey, early humans learned to control fire. Fire brought warmth, protection from predators, and the ability to cook food. Cooking made food easier to digest and allowed the body to extract more energy. Some scientists believe this change may even have helped fuel the growth of the human brain. But survival was not only about tools and fire. Early humans depended on each other. They shared food, protected the young, and learned from older members of the group. Knowledge began to pass from one generation to the next. In this way, the first forms of human culture slowly emerged. Over time, communication likely became more complex. Gestures, sounds, and eventually structured language may have allowed humans to coordinate hunts, share experiences, and pass on knowledge more effectively. This ability to share ideas would become one of the most powerful forces in human history. Human species spread across different environments. Some adapted to cold Ice Age climates. Others thrived in forests, grasslands, and coastal regions. Each environment shaped how they lived, hunted, and survived. As human minds grew more complex, something new began to appear. Not tools, not fire, but symbols. In caves across Europe, Asia, and Africa, early humans left behind paintings, handprints, and carvings. These were more than decorations. They were signs of imagination, memory, and meaning. Some paintings may have told stories about hunts. Others may have held spiritual or ritual significance. The ability to think symbolically may have been one of the most important developments in human evolution. It allowed humans to imagine things that did not yet exist. Plans, myths, ideas, and futures. This ability would eventually lead to language, culture, and civilization. Over thousands of generations, human species continued to move across the planet. Some groups followed animals across vast grasslands. Others learned to survive in forests, deserts, and frozen tundras. Step by step, humans spread from Africa into Europe, Asia, and eventually the rest of the world. For long periods of time, different human species shared the same planet. Neanderthals lived in Europe and parts of Asia. Denisovans inhabited regions of Asia. Early Homo sapiens would eventually encounter them. Sometimes they competed. Sometimes they even interbred. Over time, however, most human species disappeared. Climate changes, competition, and unknown factors slowly reduced their numbers, until only one human species remained. The history of humanity is not the story of a single species, but of many. Over millions of years, different human species evolved, adapted, and disappeared. In the end, only one remained: us.